Oli Gardner, co-founder of Unbounce, came to Webbdagarna Göteborg last year and gave a fantastic talk, much loved by the audience. And on popular demand, we asked him to come here to Stockholm to give another talk. And this time, you'll hear about data-driven design and how to use data in your design decisions to increase leads, sales, and customers. Welcome, Oli Gardner.
The crow flies straight, a perfect line, on the devil's bed until you die. This life is short.
Well, someone looks like they're working on a new idea.
How did you know?
You always make that face when you're being creative. And because I'm your inner voice, dipshit. So, what are you working on? What's the big idea?
It's a new idea for our homepage.
Ooh, what is it?
Well, it's a better way of communicating who we are, why we're great. I'm imagining a big slidey thing and an explainer video. It's gonna be awesome.
Interesting. You should probably test that.
Meaning?
Run an A/B test to see if it wins, with and without your shiny new toys.
Hey, back off. What if it doesn't win?
If it doesn't win, we don't use it.
What do you mean we don't use it?
We don't use it. We go back to the old homepage design idea.
But I really believe in this design.
I'm sure you do. It's like the last 15 ideas you slapped on the website. So, back to my question. Are you actually going to test it this time?
Yes, we're going to test it.
How long are you going to test it for?
I don't know, like 2 or 3 weeks, something like that.
And if it loses, it gets rolled back?
Well, that's a little harsh. I mean, what if it loses for 3 weeks, but then it has some bigger picture positive impact?
The bigger picture stuff will be in the data.
How can bigger picture be in the data?
We can only judge that which we can measure.
What does that even mean? Like, how will bigger picture be in the data, or will it even be in the data? I don't get it.
Is that even a question?
I don't know. I don't understand you.
The data will tell us what we should do.
I don't know what to do.
Oh, seriously, stay with me. If B loses to A, the test failed.
I get it.
So what do you want to do?
I don't know.
What do you want to do?
I'd like to shoot myself in the face right now, to be honest.
Grow up.
You grow up.
Seriously? If it loses, what are you going to do with it?
I want this on our homepage regardless.
Don't be such a f***ing hippo.
I put a lot of money and time into this.
So run a test.
We're running a test.
And what's the outcome so far in the test?
Well, it's not doing very well. It's losing by about 10%.
So it doesn't work.
We need to find a way to make it work.
Or you could trust the data and give up.
I'm not having this conversation anymore.
You proved it doesn't work all by yourself.
But I want it to work.
But the data in the test at the end says it doesn't.
Fuck data.
I suppose that means you'll implement it anyway.
You just met this guy. FT Chambers. He owns a marketing agency. It's a small one. And he has a designer, developer, and a copywriter. About 10 clients. Now, he had a traumatic event happen in his life, which is why he's not really a fan of data. I'll communicate that story and how it happened in a second. And then we're going to get into some data and design. Okay, so that's a dead goldfish. Goldfish is dead because I'm tired of listening to marketers say, our attention span is shorter than a goldfish. It doesn't matter. It's not about the length of our attention span anymore. It's how our lack of attention changes the way we use technology as technology evolves. Here's an example. This is how a lot of people will find you now when they do a search on Google. Let's try webinar software. Okay, you'll do that. You'll get a bunch of ads, maybe some organic responses. You'll put your finger on the Command or Control key, Mac or PC, and you'll just click every ad. You might not even read the third and the fourth one. Open them up in tabs. Now it's comparison shopping mode time. I'm going to go through these tabs, and if I don't understand what it is right away, I'm going to delete it. I'm going to close it forever. I'm not coming back to your landing page or your website. That's why it's critical to capture people's attention. So, and actually, the bad part of this was that competitor number 3, someone from the client was doing competitive research. They saw competitor number 3, that one's awesome, it's way better than us. They looked at the footer, it was created by this other agency in town. They spoke to them, the agency said, yeah, we do CRO, conversion optimization. We'll double your conversion rates if you leave Chambers and come with us. And they did. Now, this is why he's traumatized. He doesn't like data anymore. But he's like, okay, well, we're going to catch up. We're going to become a conversion optimization agency. We'll just put the letters CRO in the tagline beneath our logo, and we're done. We're good. And, because how hard can it be to increase conversion rates? They tried it on their own homepage, as you heard, and it lost because he just got his designer to whip something up. He loved it. It had his stupid slider at the top, and it had this animated explainer video that wasn't appropriate for their clients, and it lost by 10%. If that information got around the community, he might be in trouble. So the designer, who's a little bit annoyed by this, just being told to whip something together, he finds this. It's a little game kind of thing where you get to compete against a machine. In this case, a machine learning algorithm that we have at Unbounce that predicts conversion. This is what it looks like. It runs through some pages, and it will use its predictive algorithm to see whether it thinks it'll be a good or a bad page, and then it shows the truth, the data of the actual conversion rate. And it will go through it like this. It gets it right just over 80% of the time. So the designer had FD run through this. He scored 2 out of 10. It was terrible. He got destroyed by the robot, teaching him a lesson that you can't just look at a page and go, I know how to make this better. Right? And if this got out, if this leaked, this is how they were doing CRO, they'd be done. Okay, so he vows to do it properly. They're going to change the way things work. He admits that it's hard, takes it out of the logo, and they're going to really learn how to do this properly. He doesn't know anything about it, so he searches, what's a good conversion rate? That's kind of often the first question people ask, like, where do I stand? How good am I? He finds this, different categories, business verticals. And he plots his 10 clients on there, and he's like, wow, some of them I'm doing really well. There's a couple there, but most of them, the thick white bars are the averages. The dots are where his clients are. And he's like, 6 of them are doing terribly, and the red one, client 7, that's the one that left for the other agency. So he's like, oh, okay, I was doing a bad job. But they're not going to double that. I don't believe that. So he now has a new mission for the company. We're going to become data-driven, and we're going to win that client back in the end. And gives them a mission. When you wake up tomorrow, I want you to become optimizers. Look around you. Look at everything you encounter, what's bad, what's good, and learn from it. That's how you become a smart marketer. That's how you become a designer. That's how you become someone who can change experiences for the better. Now, this is really new data. You're the first people in the entire world to see this, apart from like 15 people at Unbounce and 5 of our power customers. Nobody has seen this data. It's very new, which is why I've been up really late, like 16-hour days for the last 2 weeks, getting this presentation ready. So I'm up very late one night, back in Vancouver. It's 2 a.m., I got the munchies and I want some chips. I bought these yesterday. It's not the exact ones. And so my fiance, Nicole, is trying to fall asleep in the next room. Every time I put my hand in, it's like rustling, and I'm like, I'm starting to feel guilty about this, because it might, she might not be able to fall asleep because of all this distracting noise. So I'm like, how do I fix this problem? Well, I get some scissors, cut the top off. Now I have this perfect little bowl that I can take them out, and it doesn't make any sound. That's how to use design to optimize an experience. And this is what this team's going to learn about, so they can see what's going wrong and make it better. A lot of great companies have core values. They have a vision, a mission, and then values that they live by, help them make decisions, guide their decisions in hiring or just how they do their day-to-day. Moz has tag fee, and on Unbounce we have 6 core values too. They really help. These are the ones I think are correct, or the thing you can use if you want to be a data-driven organization. Curiosity, that's looking at these experiences. The amount of bathrooms I go into that I get really annoyed at the sink. You're washing your hands, and it's so short that your hands are touching the back of it while it's pull it out 2 inches. It's not difficult, right? So pay attention to these things. Care about who's on the other side. If you can't witness their pain and feel their pain, you can't solve it for them. Do everything based on evidence. If you don't have the data that you need, research, get it for next time, but always come from that mindset. Those are the base goals, but then there's some strategic ones. Designing for ideal, design for your ideal customer, not just any customer. With us, that's someone who does AdWords. It used to be someone that integrates with MailChimp and Unbounce. That was before. Now, we've gone up a little bit, Salesforce and Marketo. We've evolved, your customers will too. You need to know how to design for ideal. Full life cycle, not just the top, not just acquisition. You need to go through every phase and optimize those. We have 4. Awareness, that's our content marketing, right? Evaluation, the 30-day trial, making sure people use it. Then adopting it at the end, that's someone who's paid us twice, an expansion, getting people to upgrade and use new features that will help them scale, like something they have value in, coming to our conference, these things that grow them with us, and then transformation. The best way to communicate persuasively is to demonstrate the transformative impact of using your product or service. Problem is, marketing is broken, right? The way we operate is broken. Excuse me, between marketers, designers, and copywriters. I'm writing a book on this topic, so I've done a lot of research to find some data. If I didn't, I'd be doing it. I'd be kind of lying about the topic. I've been interviewing and surveying marketers, designers, and copywriters in these teams to see what their problems are. Here's some data from these surveys. 81% of designers have to start their work before they see any copy. That means they're doing, cookie cut or templated design with lorem ipsum in it, which copywriters hate because they get it and they're like, "Oh, my headline doesn't fit in your design. Well, you didn't give me the headline. What am I supposed to do?" Right? This is the constant problem. Designers have to wait. Shouldn't be like that. 62% got no customer data at the beginning of the project. How can you have empathy? How can you design for your customer if you know nothing about them? If you know 38% of them, which part did you get? This is what they do get if they do. Mainly demographics, which are not really all that useful. And previous campaign performance, 100% of people should have that. You have that data. It's not even insights, it's just information. This is not really good enough. You need the stuff that's actually full of insights. And only 5% said when they're talking to stakeholders is the conversation about data and performance. It's just about subjectivity. This one's interesting. 98% said they're responsible for giving feedback to designers. The marketers were giving feedback to designers. 87% of them thought they were qualified to do that.
Bullshit.
Total bullshit. I've done this for 20 years. Designers are overconfident that they know how to design for conversion. They don't yet. Some do, but it's new. Marketers do not know how to critique design. Again, some do, most of them don't. And this is how designers feel. Most of the people that they're getting feedback from are non-designers, or it's subjective. Okay, so we need a better way of doing this. FD, again, he needs more data, okay? So he saw that chart. He needs more information about conversion. So he searches again, and he gets this. This is the data I'm talking about. Nobody's seen this. I'm going to go through some highlights here. It's 75 million customer interactions with 65,000 landing pages over the last 3 months. And they're lead gen landing pages, so a page that has a form on it. That part's important. And we can change that waterfall approach where you have to wait. The designer and copywriter can work at the exact same time, and I'll show you how. Okay, this is the process. It's a big topic. I'm not going to do all of it. So discovery, this is the research phase that you go through. Your ideal customer, some of the information there, the data you have internally, opportunities that makes you think of, oh, we have an opportunity on this page of the website. And then the prioritization. Design, I'll put an X in front of it. This is experience design, not just visual design. This is copywriting, visual design, interaction design, and psychology, all rolled into one. It's more than just visual. And then delivery, taking all of these, packaging it up. Here are the insights we got, And this is the design we made for you based on that. That's how you deliver it. I'm going to focus on the yellow part today, because that's the most important part. Quick go at discovery. Knowing a few things about your ideal customer. Data, internal and external. Internal, what's the performance like of your last campaign? Have you had any interviews with customers? External, from trusted sources like Moz for search, Unbounce for landing pages and overlays, Wistia for video. You'll hear Phil later on, a WordStream for PPC. You can take these, put them all together to have insights, which then tell you where the conversion opportunities are on your website or on your landing pages. And you prioritize them. There are many frameworks for prioritization. You may have heard of the PI framework. These are great, but there's a lot of subjectivity in them. This is based on the 5 core types of data in the report. So there's the conversion rate by industry, there's reading ease, there's word count, there's sentiment, and there's emotion. And if you put those things in there, you can prioritize, because you'll see this one's actually doing really well compared to the industry average. We shouldn't optimize this because we'll have a really hard time. This one's way below. Massive opportunity. And I'll show you how to figure that out. Okay, so this is the design part. Like I said, any order, designer, copywriter, start at the same time. I will start with the copywriter just because this data is about words. I'll show you, though, how those words can influence a designer, too. I told one of our copywriters at work who hasn't seen this, if you knew these 5 things, how would that change the way you work? He was like, holy crap, this would take off so much of my time, because I wouldn't be doing all this exploration. I'd have the information I need. 2 parts to this. There's the message, the technical aspects, so clarity, readability, immediacy, and word count. And then there's some of the stuff about how it feels. Clarity is far and away the most important part of conversion.
Fuck off doesn't mean go away. Fuck off means fuck off.
That's how clear we have to be. Now, you don't necessarily want to tell your customers that, maybe the competing agency. That's how clear we have to be. Back to the goldfish. Okay, immediacy. This is, in that tabbed environment, can people figure out in the first few seconds what it is you do? 5-second test, Usability Hub, really simple way. People see your page, 5 seconds, it's a screenshot. Take it down, you ask a question, get a bunch of responses back. So I asked 25 people, what does this product sell? For all these webinar software examples that I opened up in tabs. First one, I don't know what this is. Some people call them webinars, we call them fishinars. I have no idea what this is. These are the responses, 8% new as webinar software. Deleted forever. I will never go back to that website. If I see them again, they're done, unless I'm on a fishing trip. Number 2, okay, GoToWebinar. This page is terrible. Security and reliability. Why are you talking about that? I want webinar software. I'm like, okay, this one is going to suck. 44% got it right. Clearly, I'm just looking at it and thinking I know everything. But then I thought, oh, maybe it's the logo. GoToWebinar, it's right in their face. I think they're biased by that, and it is a bad page. So I blurred it out, did it again. 12%, it is a bad page. I felt a little bit better. They're done. Now, compared to 3, that's made by that other agency. WordCast, trial present plus, what's that? Powerful webinars made easy. Okay, it is webinar software, and what's over here? They've got the arrows going the wrong way. You write about it and you point the arrows at the screenshot. You don't go that way. That's stupid. Anyway, you can see software, I don't know, generic software, whatever. So I did this one, 44. It's pretty good. You know, the competition is doing a pretty decent job. But then I saw all the clarities in the subhead. So I just flipped them, ran it again. 68% got it right. That's information hierarchy, putting it in the correct order. These are insights. You can use them to make informed change. Okay, that was the one designed by the other one. That's the reason they left Chambers Incorporated. And then here's ours. Okay, this is our business. This is what happens. This is what Chambers made for us. What makes us a trustworthy partner? I don't know, and I don't care. I want a webinar. What is this? 8% got it right. That's why they left. So it wasn't hard. I looked around their website, went to the product page, Webinar tools, that's what I was looking for. One little mistake in our advertising. Chambers is not very good at marketing. He was linking to the homepage in his PPC ad. It should have come to this page. Should have been dedicated landing page, but it should at least have been this page. 54% got it right, 8 to 54. Just based on one little mistake, and you lost a client. Talking of little mistakes, here's a conversation between two guys on a phone. I'll read it out for you. So how was the date last night? First date, we went to dinner, and then I walked her home. Then I killed her in the woods outside our house and left. Killing her seems a bit harsh. Did she order lobster and filet mignon at dinner or something? Kissed. It's you know, it's one of those autocorrect problems. There's one little mistake can get you in deep trouble. My point is that what we say and what other people hear are often two entirely different things. Here are a few examples. Or perhaps more Elton Speed.
It's a death row pardon, 2 minutes too late.
That actually would be ironic, unlike every other line in that song.
It's like rain. Are you ready?
Good luck getting that out of your head for the rest of the day. Okay, reading ease, communication. Flesh reading ease scale. This is as it gets easier from graduate to 6th grade level, the conversion rate is going up. In this case, business consulting. Thank you for filling out the survey if you did. The highest percentage of you were in this category. So make it simpler. You can go to things like readable.io, put in your text, and it will tell you what level you're at, then monkey around with it, change it, and see if you can bring it down. We'll probably build that into our app pretty soon, but it's not there. So sites like that, and IBM's Watson, they have a thing like that. Jump in there and see how you're doing. Credit and lending, same thing. Right? A big increase if you get to that level. Nobody wants complexity when they're trying to get a credit card, okay? You want specificity, the numbers, the price, all that kind of stuff. What are you going to get for it? How many words should you use? Often, writers will just tell a story. They're like, this is my campaign goal. I'm just going to tell the story. Right? They don't know how long it should be. For business consulting, word count. Look at that. You go from 200 to 800. These are aggregate numbers. Look at the impact on conversion. Every time you add another 250 words, it's going down by 20%. That's crazy. You don't need a lot of information. Credit and lending, same thing. Comes way down. Health. Just stop talking, really, I guess. You know, up there. Then it just plummets. This information is critical to a copywriter because they can just go, okay, I only have this much. Now I can focus on clarity in this little portion of text. Home improvement, exact same thing. There are some things that go up. I'll show some in a bit. But for the most part, word count seems to indicate for some of these that it has a detrimental effect. When you put them together, the more of these things you put together, the more powerful they become. So word count and reading ease. Here's a home improvement site, one of our customers. I had to blur it out. So the target reading ease was 7th grade. Theirs is 4.8th grade. So that's amazing. Word count, 100 or fewer, they had 328. Now they know they need to focus on that a little bit. Conversion rate, the average was 3.3, the 75th percentile, 6.9. They had 6.4. That means they are probably outperforming 70% of their competition. If you know that, that's amazing. If you take that to your client, you're going to be a hero, or to your boss. Say, hey, this is how good a job I'm doing. That's amazing. And you also know this is one of the ones, not that much potential for an increase, unless you do a very, very dramatic change. This one, 4th grade instead of 8, amazing. Way too many words and below average conversion rate. Lots of potential there. You do this for all of them, and you'll be able to optimize your priority based on data instead of what you think will be easier or harder. Okay, so how it feels. What about some emotion and sentiment? Because they can inform design and how you write. Sentiment, there are only three: positive, neutral, and negative. Vocational and job training. You don't want much positive sentiment in that. I guess if you're really negative, if you're not being positive about someone who's trying to find a job, you're probably not going to feel good about completing your form. But, important thing, less positive is not more negative. If you have to turn the positivity down, don't turn the negativity up. They're different scales. You just need fewer words that are positive. Okay, it's very different than just saying negative stuff. Emotion. There are lots of different emotions. Credit and lending, fear doesn't help. That makes a lot of sense. You know, you're only fearful of anything financial. So you have to, so this is the number of words that fit in the fear spectrum, 3% of them. So you want to have less than 1% of your words that have anything to do with fear for that one. We don't have Uber in Vancouver, which really annoys me because the taxis are terrible there. There's not enough of them. They're finally starting to get apps. I downloaded this one. This is the first thing I see when I open it. There's no guarantee that a booking made from this application will be processed by the system or allocated to a taxi. Fair estimates are estimates only. This system cannot be depended upon for the delivery of a taxi, and you accept full responsibility for the risk if it doesn't arrive or the fare is different. Why am I even bothering with you? Like, come on. On the next page, there are like 8 error messages before I start typing. Worst experience I've ever seen in my life. But we don't have Uber, so I'm forced to go through it. Although the way Uber is right now, I'm happy they're not there, actually. They're not giving me a sense of trust, that I can trust them with that bad experience. So here's one that goes up, business services. You get up past the 7.5% of your words that are trustworthy, you're going to see that increase in conversion. Travel, this is a weird one. Not much or a lot. Don't stick it in the middle there. I guess it's kind of wishy-washy. I guess you want to trust that the hotel is going to be clean and safe or something like that. You want a lot of that reinforcement. Anticipation. Keep it down, I guess, Trying to build up tension is probably not the best kind of thing when you're selling a service or some kind of consultation. You want to be straight to the point. And higher education, you need some joy. Come and get an education with us. You can look up lexicons for what words work in these things, and you can play around with adding them in. Again, go to somewhere like readable.io and play around with it. So designer, they're all getting t-shirts for this new change in what they want to do. So instead of Laura Ipsum, which she hates, I just put it in an anagram generator. I'm up lemurs. I don't know. That's her new job description. Is better than filling in the blanks in designs, I guess. A lot of people struggle with this thing. What's design and what is art? Here's a simple way of looking at it. Art is selfish. Design it's problem solving, right? It's taking something that's wrong and it's fixing it. It's a altruistic endeavor. All right, so our designer. Now remember, he started at the exact same time as the copywriter because in discovery, he had all of the same data. Purpose, this is why your campaign exists, the goals and all of that kind of stuff, the data you've gathered prior to this, the little things about your ideal customer, and the life cycles you're going to go after, and the opportunities you've kind of identified. Then we go into look and feel. Both of these probably combine together for a designer. Some of the technical stuff, visual ID, attention ratio, and typographic readability. So the type, if you need simpler language for the writer, you do that. But for a designer, you might change the way the writing looks to also help with readability. And then there's a sentiment and an emotion, which can inform your design decisions. Now, these are copy analysis. We're going to do the visual stuff. We're working with a couple of universities to help us do that. That'll come soon. But this is still copy, but it can inform what we do. So emotion. Okay, well, travel, we don't want anger. Okay, for whatever reason, people don't like to be angry on vacation, so don't communicate that. What can we do with design? Well, for your color palette, we've seen these wheels before. So let's look, are we doing a little bit much of this in our designs? We can just like turn that one down a little bit, and maybe that will help our conversion rate. It's the designer with this up front, they're like, okay, I was really leaning in that direction. I'm going to tone it down a little bit. Typography. For joy, which one would you go for? I think you might lean in that direction. You might not be able to change your typeface. Or if it's a certain kind of campaign, maybe you are, or maybe you can add a secondary one. But you can at least consider how it's going to look. Maybe I'm going to have larger type, more spaced out, if it's supposed to convey simplicity. Image style. Do you want illustration or photography? If trust is in there, or there's complexity in your product, maybe illustration is too simple and it doesn't convey that you're actually serious about what you're doing. So you have to make those decisions in the right way. Visual ID. This is the idea of if you take your main hero image, your main visual on your page, and you take it in isolation, how well does it communicate what you do and what the context of using your product or service looks like? I saw this landing page, and first of all, the first thing I thought was, why is Larry King on this landing page? And more importantly, why is he shooting laser beams from his thumb? That's really strange. So I thought, well, maybe other people are confused about Larry being on the page. So again, I did a 5-second test just to see. I said, what product does this company sell? Loans, lending, insurance. Okay, but only 6% said business loans. This is the specificity again. These are not car loans, student loans, they're business loans. If people can't figure that out, they'll close your tab. Okay, it's really important. So I'm like, is it a Larry problem? So I blurred out the rest of the page, and I did it again. Asked the same question. These are the responses. Meaning a guy, talk show, obviously, something about old men, doctor consultation, Viagra. And a lot of people just didn't have a clue. You'll get these responses when you do these experiments. It's hilarious. And it's evidence. You can take it to your client and go, this is what people think about us. It's not good. Can you please let me do some optimization? Definitely got a Larry problem, so I just deleted him. Took him off the page entirely, ran it again. That's what they do. 36, 500% increase in people getting it right away. Now, he's a high-price endorsement, I'm sure, but give him another job and don't put him there. Maybe put him further down the page or something. That's not the first thing you need to see on that page. All right. Typographic readability. So there's the reading ease part of the language. How about the way you portray it? Top one, that's hard to read. It's really wide, it's too crumpled together. Keep doing this, and oh, which line was I on? I was on 4, so I'm on 5. It's difficult. This is easy to read, and you can figure it out. You go to this, the links at the top, you'll get the slides later. This is the golden ratio of typography. This will tell you say you have a 16-pixel font, it will tell you the line height and the ideal width of the paragraph. Or if you have a design and you only have 680 pixels to work with, you put that in and it'll reverse engineer it for you and tell you the most readable visual for your type. It's awesome. And if you hover over the font size here, it will give you all of them, like from your H1 all the way down. So you can really get your whole page looking correct. Attention ratio. Ratio of number of things you can do on a page, links, interactive stuff, to the number of things you should be doing, which is always one if you're running a marketing campaign. You have one goal. Here's some data from Unbounce again. Lead gen landing pages, 1-to-1, like just one link, one call to action. Then as it goes down, the conversion rate goes down. You've got to take those links off. So this is back to us again. Okay, so we made this slightly better by pointing the ad at this page. 54% got it right, but the attention ratio is 8-to-1 because of that nav. So just delete that. Now, you might not be able to do it on your website, but if it's a dedicated landing page, you can do whatever you want. You can take that out because you don't need people going anywhere else. This is just for figuring out about your webinar tools. 66% got it right because the attention ratio was 1-to-1. So let it go up. That's simple optimization. And the goal at the end of this is you have a mood board that's data-driven. You come at the first meeting between your designer, your copywriter, your marketer, and you have an evidence-based visual. This is the way we're going, and this is why. Same, you have a data-driven copy deck. I actually prefer the term data-informed But because data-driven is a buzzword and I'm writing a book, I've gone with data-driven. But data-informed actually makes more sense because we don't want to be driven by data. We want to be informed because otherwise it might take away some of the creativity. Okay, so just make sure it's informing what we do. Instead of painting by numbers, he's painting by data, and he's a much happier designer. This is the way we should be doing it. All right, so after that, it's the first round. Instead of now the designer beginning, they check in, and they've got all of this insight. They've put this work together. They have a conversation about it. Well, the data says the copy should be really simple, but it's a complex product. Should I design the visuals to be simple, to be the same, or should I keep them complex, like the product, so it feels the right way? That we don't know. That's a valid question. We're going to figure that out. You're going to have to test that in the meantime, but it's a really smart question. I don't have many words. Should I have a long or a short page? Well, I could just have them in bunches because we have lots of features to communicate. Maybe a long page is okay, just breaking it down is okay. So I'm learning how copy and design work together. He can just use a larger font size to make the small amounts of text work with these features. So he knows how to do this now as well. Now, I looked through 300 landing pages 2 nights ago in these different 10 categories. I looked at the top performing of each, the average, and the bottom to see if I could spot anything. Now, this is business consulting again. This is very preliminary, tiny sample size, and it's just my observation. We will figure this out, but this is what I noticed. Okay, the highest performing ones, average length of the page in pixels, 271. 31.87 average conversion rate. The average ones, 390 pixels. They're getting longer, and they convert less than 5%. Right at the bottom, 562 pixel average length. And it's gone below 1%. Now, that's a really small sample size, but it's a signal that we can feed back into our algorithm to figure out if that does have an impact. Then we're going to have the designer and the copywriter really knowing exactly how they should design this experience. Travel was exactly the same. I stopped at 2 because it took a long time. But I'm gonna talk to our data science team when I get back and see if there's actually something there. Okay, the last part of this is method. This is the interaction design part. We know how to write it, how to make it look. Now we've got to figure out how to make it work. This is a big topic too. I'll just touch on it very briefly. Semantic design is what I'm talking about here. That's designing an experience that is appropriate for the content inside it. Right? It's like affordance is a design principle. It's the way something looks, how well does it infer how you use it? A round door handle, you turn it. A flat one, you push it down. That's affordance. Semantic design is that on a macro level. Everything in the experience does that kind of thing. I was checking in Vancouver to fly here, and I get to the counter, and I was talking with the lady there, and she said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Stockholm." It's like, "I love Stockholm. The bacon is amazing." I had some the other day. It was pretty fucking good. I'm like, "Great. I love bacon." And she's like, "You need to go to Herman's by the river. It's this buffet-style restaurant, vegetarian restaurant." Why would I go there if the bacon in Stockholm is amazing? That is not a semantic experience. That restaurant is not designed for bacon lovers. That's what it means. Or these tacos, right? The way you eat these, the way usually you have several, right? And you have to put them in this rack so they don't fall over. That is brilliant. It's removed the need for these. They just stand up by themselves. That is so clever. You can just put it there, and it'll stay there put. So that's an appropriate design for what's going to happen. That's semantic design. So I'll have just one example for you, and we'll be done. Semantic forms, or semantic design. So our ideal customer, we figure out they love live chat. They like to talk, but this client can't scale yet. They don't have the money, so it's 6 months before they'll be doing 24/7 support. They can't turn on a live chat. They do have a form there. Chat, form, why don't we make it a conversational form? This is brand new stuff. It only came out. Someone put this thing on GitHub like a month ago or something. So this is a landing page. It was in Spanish. One of our international team did it. I just did this late last night. So this is how it works. It's asking for an email address and a nice conversational tone. See what you want. Answers from drop-down lists become these little buttons you can press, and as you search, they live update to give you the most obvious answers. Okay, that's that conversational thing. This is inside the app. It was really easy to do. It's just a regular form. Sorry about the ugly design. Pablo is not a designer. I took this and I made it worse, but it's a regular form, but then you just go and you put a script in there, that's all it is. Now this speaks to that LP POM form, that's for us, but you could take this and replace that with the ID of whatever your form is on your page. That pretty much out of the gate should turn it into a conversational form. That's the code there. It's crazy. We have to test this though, because design and interaction trends are dangerous. If we don't validate them, they can cause problems. But this is a really, really cool way of changing interaction. Now, delivery, I won't cover. This is when you package all of those insights up and the designs you created, and you deliver that to the customer. If they don't pay attention, they don't use it, you at least did your job. And that's all you can be asked to do. Thank you very much. Go there, fill in your email, and you'll get, in about a week, that report. It comes out. Nobody's seen it, and there's like 20 times more stuff in there. So, yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Oli. That was amazing. How often do you think companies say that we are data-driven and all our design are based on data, but
everybody says it.
Everybody.
It's bullshit.
So, yeah. But how many of them are really data-driven?
I mean, it's a common thing now to at least be thinking about it, but
yeah.
I see this problem.
And that's a good start, at least.
It is. It's like, you know, conversion optimization is a relatively new thing. It's only like been a big focus for like, say, 5 years. People knew it for like 15, but en masse, only a few years. So this is also going to have an effect as we go forward. But there are a lot of agencies who say they have this skill and they don't, because it's really difficult. You need a dedicated, you know, optimization agency. There are a few, like in Europe, like WebArts and I forget, but yeah, and John Ekman's place in Stockholm as well. So you need to find the right person to do that kind of thing. This kind of framework is designed so that we can fix the problem of designers and marketers and all this working together, because that's the kind of insight they can actually use. They don't need to be a conversion expert.
Great. Thank you.